vehicles, like, for instance, Ken Nelson's Cool Bus. What an unusual wheel stander. Want to see another one? Here's Brett Kepner.
Although some fans might hesitate, the hardcore drag racing aficionado can pretty much immediately recognize this Chevy S10 as a wheel stander. A lot of people don't realize it, but the wheel standers are really drag racing's only true rear-engined machines. Dragsters are mid-engined. Wheel standers have the engine behind the rear end. This gorgeous Chevy S10 of Tony Caprio is a brand new wheel stander that nobody's ever seen before until now. Now, the wheel standing trade is an art form, no question about it, created by some of the best-known names in all of drag racing. But as Tony Caprio can also tell us, other than the jet cars, the licensing procedure to become a wheel stander driver is one of the most rigorous in all of motorsports, let alone drag racing. Tony, when you first decided to be a wheel stander driver, did you have any comprehension of the licensing procedure?
No, I didn't at the time. But thanks to George Terr and Barbara Turs, they, kind of my mentors, explained everything to me, and then we started the ball rolling, and 12 months later, here we are.
Now, George Turs would be an excellent mentor because he has been involved in this business so long. How many runs will the sanctioning bodies require of you in just the licensing procedure?
There's actually 9 in 3 separate days of running. We got 3 moderate runs the first day, 2 moderate runs full pass the second day, and then on the third day we're allowed to do it in spectators, and it's 3 full runs.
And that itself is an awful lot of work.
Yes, it is.
Now, you put this machine together with your own 2 hands, one of the very few completely self-built wheel standers in the business. How long did it take?
12 months.
But most people don't realize just how weird the driving situation is in these cars. How do you do it?
I guess it'd be going to the bumper cars where everything kind of slides on your back. You're up in the air, and basically your butt just kind of moves back and forth, and that's it. And pushing on the brakes whichever way you're going to go. But It is a weird feeling.
You actually are holding onto a steering wheel, until the front wheels leave the ground.
No, you never. That was the biggest problem I had. Try to get in your car, take your hands off the wheel, put them in your lap, and step on the gas. Seems your right foot don't work. As George told me, he said, get yourself a security blanket. So you put your hands down by the shifter and the brakes, and you hang onto the bar, and then all of a sudden your right foot works. Accelerate, you come up and shift the car and move your right hand to the brakes and drift it whichever way you want it to go.
So with the brakes actually steering the car, are you using your hands on the brakes or your feet?
Hands.
Both hands?
Both hands are off the steering wheel during the whole pass. You don't come back on the steering wheel until you're bringing the truck back down.
Now, how do you view the racetrack when the front end's up?
Basically, I drive the horizon like you pick out a light pole, a tree, make sure it's something that isn't moving on the other end of the track. I look through the windshield as I accelerate, the front end comes up, and if you look through the floorboard, when I'm up, I should be looking at the same point at the other end. If I'm want to left or right, then I make the adjustment with the brake.
You can call Tony the Texas Bandit, and let's face it, showmanship is a huge part of the wheel stander program, but so is performance. You may not realize it, but there are now at least 2 wheel stander drivers who, on the rear wheels for the full quarter mile, have dipped into the 8-second zone at over 150 miles per hour. Whether or not Tony's machine lives up to that kind of performance remains to be seen. But as he has just told you, if you ever had dreams of someday driving one of those machines all the way down the quarter mile on the back wheels, just prepare to spend an awful lot of time proving to the officials that you can do it, and then maybe you can make it a real live full-time living.
Not a bad living, Brett Kepner. Let's watch Ken Nelson make his living, so to speak, in the Cool Bus. A school bus that's a wheel stander. Novel idea. Great exhibition run there by Ken. Now let's go down to the Nitro Coupe pit area where Brett Kepner brings us this update.
Well, next door over at Dave Graytech and Jeff Brozovich's pit area, we can show you what we caught on the boring cam, because they have done nothing but change the oil and spark plugs in that car, and it's still running 620s all day long. Bill Coleman, on the other hand, people probably forget that last year you were in the 620s yourself, but you're not the kind of guy to sit around with a 620 combination in your pocket just waiting to use it.
No, I like to get new stuff and go 640 and 50.
Well, that's the way this year has gone. So the big question is, you didn't hurt anything in the semifinal round, but what in the world can you do staging up a car that has gone no quicker than 640s against a man who hasn't been out of the 20s?
Well, just play the law of averages. I'll step this thing up. We'll sacrifice some parts this round. I mean, that's what you do when you race Nitro. We'll sacrifice some parts, hopefully keep it hooked up and get to the other end, and we'll roll the dice, play the odds, and say, can they do it that many times in a row?
Well, you heard what Bill Coolman said. Dave Graytech gets ready for that final round. We'll have that when we return. Motorplex, we told you they have everything in a Super Chevy show. How about a Chevrolet-powered 57 Chevy motorcycle? This coverage of the Super Chevy Series on Speed World has been brought to you by NOS, Nitrous Oxide Systems, and by RaceScan Communications of Johnson City, Tennessee. Jets up on the drag strip now, as I promised you earlier in the program. Here is Fran Pepler. She's going to be racing against Ernie Bogue, and he's running with the devil. Oh, Franny made light work of him. Fran Pepler, 595. Look at the speed, folks. 256 miles per hour. Time now for power and performance. An inside look at the engines and technology being used by the competitors on the Super Chevy circuit. Brought to you by NOS, Nitrous Oxide Systems.
By now, just about everybody knows that dollar per horsepower nitrous oxide is probably the biggest money-saving speed equipment add-on you can possibly purchase. But a lot of people don't realize that you can also save money when you're using your nitrous oxide system. A good example is the nitrous system used on Scott Thompson's absolutely immaculate 1967 Chevy Nova nitrous-aided big block Pro Streeter. First of all, when you're refilling your nitrous oxide bottle at the local refilling station, hey, you don't have to empty the bottle before refilling it. All you have to do is put the bottle in your freezer overnight, and because it will shrink the actual liquid inside the bottle, you can actually put more in. Secondarily, you don't need to go to the refilling station necessarily to put new nitrous oxide in a bottle. All you have to do is take another full nitrous oxide bottle and run a line from it to the cold one, and as you know, liquid will find its own level. By the way, when you're refilling bottle to bottle with a hose connection, don't hook up the hoses super tight to each bottle and then open up the petcocks. All you have to do is leave a small gap on the cold bottle that's being filled and then open up the warm bottle. As soon as you see white, you know you've purged that hose connection of oxygen, and that way you can begin filling pure nitrous oxide. Now, how much will this little tip save you? Well, with current nitrous oxide refilling charges between $3 and $4 per pound of nitrous oxide, and most people using about a 10-pound bottle of nitrous in the car, I would think that this little tip could save you 10 or 15 bucks.
Thank you very much, Brett Kepner. Ready for the final in Nitro Coupe with Dave Graytech, the Chevrolet dealer who's been running 20s all day long against Bill Coolman, whose best time is a 6:53. Bill needs to find about 3/10. Doesn't look like he's going to get it done. He gives it a game effort, but to no avail. Graytech another 6:27, 220 miles per hour. Brazovich and the whole Graytech gang are very delighted. They'll go down the top end where Brett Kepner is with our winner.
Nobody would have ever believed it could be done in this heat. 4 runs within 0.03 of a second, 6:27 at 2:22.
Oh, my.
Anybody would have figured you'd have backed it down.
And the motors together. Everything's happy. Oh, this is exciting.
No one has ever done this before. It's official.
Well, we have something to work for. We got a higher ladder to climb now, don't we?
Indeed you do. And Dave Graytech, you're still only in 3rd place. You've got a lot of catching up to do if you're going to stop the defending champ, Bill Coolman, from repeating that championship. If you'd like to attend a Super Chevy, here is the event schedule of some of the events coming up yet this year in 1999. Super Chevy runs coast to coast with about 20 events nationwide. That's a wrap. From the Texas Motorplex in Ennis, Texas, I'm Ted Jones for Brett Kepner. Thanks for watching. So long, everyone. On a tear. After consistently running 620s in every round of Nitro Coupe competition at the Super Chevy event in Ennis, Texas, Dave rocked the crowd here in New Hampshire with a stunning 6.22 qualifying pass.
This is really unbelievable. We really didn't think this track would hold it, and I had my hands full on that pass.
It actually looked like you lifted near the starting line.
No, she was dancing. She was dancing. I did not lift, but she worked me all the way down. She was hunting all over the place, but she really felt good. I knew it was on a mission.
Nitro, that can mean only one thing when you see it on a full-body car. It's got to be Nitro Coupes, a class exclusive to the Super Chevy Show that runs all across America. And we're at the northernmost stop for the Super Chevy Show, New England Dragway in Epping, New Hampshire. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ted Jones, your host on this series on ESPN2 Speed World's exclusive coverage of the Super Chevy Show. And this is Bill Coolman's Summit Racing Equipment sponsored entry, which has one other unusual aspect about it. No, it's not the fact that it's a Hemi head on a Chevrolet engine, although that is a very rare. It's not the fact that Coolman is the defending world champion. It's the fact that he has the only Nitro Coupe female crew chief, Becky Shields, who actually gets under the car, checks all of the bearings, and does most of the maintenance on this machine between rounds. To find out exactly how Bill Coolman can fare in the Nitro Coupe wars, stay tuned for more of the Super Chevy Show. And we'll have that show coming up right now as we move up to the starting line at the drag strip. Mike Swinarski here running against the Mega Power Corvette of Mel Eves. Oh, nice hole shot by Eves as he moves out on Swinarski, who has problems. Give the win right there to Mike Swinarski as he upsets Mel Eves with a 676 at over 200 miles per hour. But now here comes the man of the hour. This is Chevy dealer Dave Graytech. His opponent will be Mike Castellana, the former Pro Mod racer who now is in a 57 Chevy. Meanwhile, down on top end, you're following, ladies and gentlemen, the oil slick from Mel Eves' car. That's why he lost in that first round of competition. Yuck, what a mess, a blown engine. Meanwhile, back up on the starting line, Dave Graytech, Mike Castellana. Give the starting line advantage to Graytech. Castellana have problems. You're riding with Dave Graytech at over 200 miles per hour as he hits the finish line with a 631, 217. And with news from the Nitro Coupe pits, here's Brett Kepner.
Well, Ted, there's an awful lot of activity in Mel Eves' Mega Power Corvette pit area, and you might wonder why, considering his dismal first-round effort that saw a connecting rod go right through the side of his beloved Simon engine. Well, the reason they're thrashing is they've just gotten the word from the other side of the pit area here at New England Dragway that Mike Swinarski has suffered severe clutch problems and will not be able to make the semifinal round. That gives Mel Eves the luck he's been looking for this season as he gets back in and continues his battle for the points championship. Now, from an engine standpoint, if you know your chipmunks and Simon's out of the picture, that must mean Alvin is up next. And Alvin, by the way, happens to be the big dog or chipmunk in the Mega Power pit team. Now, they're going to use the supercharger and fuel injection unit off of Simon on Alvin. I guess Alvin has a strong back but weak lungs. But they've already figured out the fuel injection program for this racetrack in the current atmospheric conditions, so they feel that's the way to go. No matter what, Mel Eves is back, and he'll be back strong.
So, Mel Eves with a little of Bill Coolman's luck on the Super Chevy Series. This coverage is being brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment. 30 years of low prices and expert advice. And by Precision Gear. When your rear end is on the line, depend on Precision Gear. We'll be back. You're watching the Super Chevy Series here on ESPN Speed World from New England Dragway in Epping, New Hampshire. Ted Jones, Mike Side with you. Brett Kepner's in the pits. We're ready to continue with the quarterfinal round action. And this is Doug Winters, his sensational 1958 Corvette. His opponent will be Bruce Boland, the Stony Creek, Ontario-based 1963 Corvette. As we get a good look there inside the business end of Doug Winters' Corvette. Good green light start for both cars as Doug Winters is out first. Here comes Boland up beside him. Does he have enough? No. Doug Winters, 760, 194 miles per hour. He'll move into the semifinal round as we take a look to exactly what happened there to Bruce Boland. Oh, out of shape. Almost got into the concrete wall before he finally got it straightened out. Then it was too late. And our final pair will be Ron Iannotti from Coventry, Rhode Island, a 1995 ZR1 Corvette. And this man, the defending champion, Bill Coolman from Wentzville, Missouri. As you see, Iannotti backing up. Always very popular with the Super Chevy fans because of the rather attractive and unusually attired crew persons that he brings with him out on the starting line. Good green light start. Bill Coolman, a 5:19 reaction time to Iannotti's very slow 6:24. Bill Coolman, 6:56, 210 miles per hour. He's into another semifinal. So in the semifinal.